Gwinnett Medical Center is now entering Peachtree Corners. Conveniently located in the heart of this thriving community, our new center offers first-rate primary care and specialty services, including cardiology, gastroenterology, neurology, OBGYN, orthopedics, 3D mammography, and X-ray. Learn more about how GMC is making industry-leading healthcare more convenient than ever at gwinnettmedicalcenter.org/PTC.
So it's one of those things. You can make great money in a trade. You can make great money in being a hairdresser. You can have a great sense of accomplishment and a creative outlet. But there's a lot of misconceptions about that. I think a lot of people talk a big game when they say, oh, why not explore something outside of the college realm? But maybe hairdressers perceived a rung too low for their own child.
You're with The Capitalist Sage, a twice-a-month podcast that seeks out entrepreneurs and experts that speak to the real-world life of doing business for their sage advice. Now, with your hosts, Karl Barham and Rico Figliolini.
Welcome to The Capitalist Sage podcast. We're here to bring you advice and tips from seasoned pros and experts to help you improve your business. I'm Karl Barham with Transworld Business Advisors, and my co-host is Rico Figliolini with Mighty Rockets Digital Marketing and the publisher of the Peachtree Corner magazine. How you doing today, Rico?
Hey, Karl. Great week. This is a good time to be podcasting.
Absolutely. Lots of fun things happen. Why don't we start off by introducing some of our sponsors today?
Sure. I want to let everyone know where we are first. We're at Atlanta Tech Park in Tech Park, in the city of Peachtree Corners. It's a great space that you can come to if you're a mid-size or a startup company or a company going through the acceleration phase. Robin Benfay, who started this place actually, as a work share place with a lot of bells and whistles, including being able to meet venture capitalists, learn from other startups and such, and also for those people that want to come here and use the space as event space also. This is a great place for that. So Atlanta Tech Park, this is their podcast studio. I want to thank them for that.
Absolutely. Just a couple of cool events
Sure.
that are coming up. Asian Film Festival is starting off on October 11th.
Yep.
They're also going to have several events in November that's also coming up on the schedule to look forward to. North Atlanta Technology Showcase and a couple other cool events. Check out their website if you want to see some of the events that's happening at Atlanta Tech Park. The North Atlanta Tech Showcase is going to be on November 14th, actually. So another place to see the new technology companies that are happening here.
It's amazing how this place is being used. The Atlanta Asian Film Festival is the largest in the Southeast that's being done. It's being done right here. So it's coming in. Our next sponsor is Gwinnett Medical Center. They've just opened up about 3-4 months ago, and they have opened the GMC Primary Care and Specialty Center, so you can go there as your primary care doctor and also get your mammography done or your x-ray done right on site. And recently Northside Hospital just bought them out, so they're part of that hospital system as well now. And they're on Peachtree Parkway. You can find more information at gwinnettmedicalcenter.org/PTC.
Wow, fabulous. Well, I'd like to introduce today's guest, Geoffrey Frost, who is owner and stylist of FrostSalon, located right here locally in Peachtree Corners, inside of the Ingalls Shopping Plaza. So if you ever go by Ingalls, you can see the salon there. We're going to talk today about growing and starting a small salon beauty business in particular. Just learn some insights around that. How are you doing today, Geoffrey?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming and joining us. A lot of times people talk around large technology business and so on, but people be surprised to know that one of the biggest industries, especially when it comes to small business, is in beauty care, whether it's hair salons, nail, eyebrows, waxing. It's one of the largest segment of the market, especially dominated by small businesses. So we thought it'd be great to talk a little bit about what it's like to start up a business like that and some of those things. But why don't we start off with you introducing yourself to us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I was born and raised here.
And, native.
One of the natives, yeah. Not many Georgia peaches running around here. Everybody's a transplant, it seems. But Yeah, having lived here my whole life, watching the city just blossom and grow, get bigger and bigger. I met my wife, not in Atlanta. I actually met my wife. We can get more into that later. But I met her in London, England, and we dated long distance before she came here. And together, we live in Peachtree Corners. We've lived here since we've been married we're about to celebrate our 10-year anniversary.
Oh, congrats.
So Jen is a very talented stylist and just an even better person. And then together we have 4 children. We have 2 boys and 2 girls. And so we're very much ingrained in the community. Our kids are in the local elementary school. We have our younger 2 in the local preschool. And between church and sports and just socializing, we're definitely a family full and on the go for sure.
Oh, fabulous. And tell me a little bit about starting up your business.
Yeah, so like I said, my wife and I met through the hair industry. So I used to work as an educator for a hair product company. And to give even a little more background, my father is a hairdresser, and he owns a salon. His salon is in Dunwoody, and I used to work with him for years before we opened our salon here in Peachtree Corners. But doing education for a hair product company, and what that entails is going to trade shows or even in-salon classes and sharing inspiration, whether it be hair cutting, hair color, and just kind of keeping your finger on the pulse of what are the new trends and what are the foundational principles that always need to be hammered home. But through that process, it was interesting. I got a chance to go into some really cool salons, some not so cool salons. So you get a chance to see some really nice working environments, and it starts to sow that seed. What kind of salon would I want to have when the time comes to do it? But obviously, I gained an incredible amount of confidence being able to share that vision, that dream with my wife. So it's not just on my shoulders; it's on hers. So it's nice if you're an entrepreneur to have somebody really close that you can trust.
Absolutely, I know when couples are in the same industry, they can understand and empathize with things that are going on at work and so on, and going on with the business. So that must be a huge. How did she help you with the business?
Yeah, so we always had an idea of what we wanted to do, and it's nice to have that check and balance, but somebody who really knows the industry. And so we knew how important it would be. I mean, there's the financial component, of course, but we knew how important it would be, if we're going to do this, because obviously you can make a great living being a hairdresser, working for someone else. You can be an independent stylist and rent your chair, and you can make a great living that way. But we knew if we were going to do the salon ownership and build a team, that we had to really just have our ducks in a row on what kind of employees do we want, what kind of bosses do we want to be. I've heard this before from many people, and it's really true. Culture in a business happens whether any work environment, whether you like it or not. So you better take an active role in shaping that culture. Otherwise, your culture could be defined by disgruntled employees in your back room. So you just have to be really mindful of that. So we knew obviously there's all the logistics of contracting or financing, and certainly we'll talk more about that. But we knew we'd have to build a solid team where everybody's got a nice shared vision together, and you're all working to a common goal.
What's interesting to me is the way you were describing. I keep thinking of the restaurateurs I know.
Yeah.
And they're all like, they're looking at other businesses before they start their own, and they're trying to figure out, do I want to be like that? Do I want to be like this?
A lot of blueprints on napkins.
That's right,
happens,
yes. And not only that, you're talking about culture. In a restaurant, there's the front and the back end, right? You have the kitchen side, and then you got the service side, and sometimes they compete with each other. But in the hair salon, you're all up front. There's no back side to that. So I can see how a culture could be taken over by employees if they're disgruntled, or if the team leaders are not strong enough to do that. But it's cool that you're working with your wife like that.
Yeah, exactly. We love it. We work well together.
If you think about it, so in the restaurant, like you mentioned in this, principally you're providing a service. And to provide this service, this is one of the industry that I'm going to safely say might be Amazon proof.
Yeah.
I don't think that they can dominate that industry from the stand of delivering that kind of service.
No, they can't drone deliver.
They can't drone deliver the hair. But the nature of it, people are so attached to their stylists. They tend not to jump around. They tend to kind of follow someone. If their stylist moves, they move. So finding the right people and keeping them motivated and happy, it seems to be really an important part of that industry. Anything that you've seen in the industry that's shifted in how you attract and retain stylists? Because that seems to be an area where, especially in a low unemployment time like we're in now, that seems to be a challenge.
No, attracting a strong stylist and building a strong staff is really, I mean, if you ask salon owners, and I would imagine across, generally beauty business or other service industries, staffing can be one of the biggest challenges, just finding those right people that fit that culture that we were talking about. And it's always like, where can I find good people? What can I do? But I think you've got to almost start with the client in mind. And one thing that we've done is we've essentially tried to identify who is our ideal client. They're all not going to be the same, but just a range. So what is the age range? Do you want to specialize in? Do you want to be known as the person who does gray color? Do you want to work with women between a certain age? Just knowing exactly who that perfect client is for you, and then shaping your staff around, can they meet that need? So one of the biggest things that people in our industry specifically do is where's the education for stylists happening? It's happening in hair schools. And so you've got to get your foot in the door. You've got to, go in and offer yourself that you'll do a free class. I mean, they're always looking for people to come in and do that. And you can start to sow that seed that you might be a cool place to work, and you might have something more to offer than just a chair.
So I wonder, for stylists, what are some of the things that help the more successful stylists really earn a great income? Is it technical skills? Is it people skills? What have you seen as the thing that helps folks that stand out, the ones that you've seen that's just stood out?
That's a good question, because there's a lot of different answers for it. And I've seen some people who have the ability to make amazing connections with individuals, so much so they almost feel like family, the closeness. And there's been times I've seen really, really, I would say, mediocre hair being done by that person. And it's amazing how much somebody's willing to look over from a skill standpoint because they've made that connection with people. I'm sure you guys have bought something from a salesperson because you really like them, and you maybe look back and think, I probably didn't need that product, but boy, they sure were great. But with that said, I think when you look at the actual aspect of doing hair or doing anything that is of a trade, because let's be honest, we get our license from the state of Georgia, the same place an electrician or a plumber gets their license, same office. So it's very much a trade, and that is kind of a hot topic right now in discussion circles. But there's an artistic component and there's a technical component. And to be artistic, you have to be technical. Some people choose to stay in that technical zone, but there is no way that somebody can be a successful hairstylist without some nice balance and combination of technical foundations and then expanding on just personal artistry. But at the end of the day, the big black eye with our industry has always been, are we professional? Do we present ourselves professionally? Are we on time? Are we reliable? And I think for a truly successful person in our industry, they've got to be able to start with that as a foundation, then build the technical foundation of hair cutting or hair color or whatever service they like to provide, and then let the artistry kind of bloom after that. And that's when you really see, does somebody kind of have it, and that's more innate.
Do you find more, you were saying about teaching in schools, and that makes sense to me because then you're finding talent that's young, that's already not out there maybe biased for some reason. Or
bad habits already.
Correct,
bad habits.
So you're finding someone that's maybe talented, you could see that talent there, now you just have to bring them up. Is that a better choice?
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's many people in my industry that have said and written really inspirational things, but one of those was build the star, not find the star. And it goes back to the culture thing. You bring somebody in, they could have a little bit of a skewed view from somewhere they worked, or like Karl said, they may be using techniques that don't really align with end results that you like, and it's a lot easier to build somebody from the beginning than it is to kind of deconstruct and then reconstruct.
So I'm curious then, why do most business owners avoid that building recruiting that so many love to get folks to switch over, and that building, what does it take for a good salon owner to do to build, to be able to build somebody? Give us some examples.
That's a good question. I think it's intimidating to bring somebody in. I think sometimes for a lot of business owners there's a little bit of fear that maybe that person who's got some experience may not look up to them with revering eyes as much as a new person. They may come in with their own attitudes, but we've always thought if we found the right person, the term would be like a senior stylist, somebody who you could really trust to do good work, that does not want to manage administrative costs and overhead and things like that. Somebody just wants to do some good hair, kind of clock in and clock out, and build those relationships, and just, like I said, do a good job. I think a lot of businesses struggle with that because I think they can be a little threatened by it, but it really does take the right person. I mean, our industry, the hair industry, has got some characters in it for sure.
It does.
As you can imagine, there's many times where somebody says, "Oh, you like working in the hair industry?" I'll be talking to like a male client. "Oh, I used to date this hairdresser. She was crazy," But so there are some stereotypes that need to be broken, I think. But yeah, you're attracting a group of people that generally are very social. They're very creative, so they can be a little bit out there and from an artistic standpoint. And I think it's almost a requirement that you have ADD. Like, everybody's got this energy. And I'll be honest, a lot of hairdressers were not great students because they prefer to learn in a more hands-on way, and they and their connection to the world is much more artistic and social, not so much the sit down, read the book without any distractions, crank out math equations. Those people belong in an engineering program or something like that, but you don't want your hairdresser to have that personality. You want them to be funny.
If I had hair, I wanted someone that would, when they put their hands in my hair, it's like they're molding it almost, right? You think of clay and stuff like that. You want that beauty to be able to come out. I know that.
I wonder if the model would be more like in the music industries and artistic. So if you're managing a group of stylists that are talented, they've got these A&R guys in music that develop artists. They take them. They've got some. They could sing a little bit, but then they craft them. They send them to the training school, teach them the dance steps, put them in the school with different producers. And they treat artists in a different way, manage them to be successful. I wonder if some salon owners treat stylists less like artists, more like, maybe a group of accountants, and that's what creates these toxic cultures that sees that turnover spinning. Have you seen that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really cool comparison. I never thought about it as it relates to the music industry. We used to go get lunch, and we'd be at a hair show, and a group of us, might break away from model prep and go to a restaurant and get lunch, and the hostess would be like, "All right, you guys are either in a band or you're, we're like, no, we do hair." Okay, that makes sense. So kind of a motley crew of sorts, but I think that's a really good comparison. I think that does make a lot of sense with the music comparison, because if you get too stuck on policies and creating the structure, then you're kind of the antithesis of who you say you're attracting. You want to attract kind of free thinking, artistic people, and just let them know, hey, we're going to take care of some of the boring stuff, the accounting, payroll kind of stuff, but you make the connections, you create art, and we just require this much professionalism.
And to dismiss the myth that stylists can't be professional or artists can't be professional. You ever look at any of these documentaries on these musicians, how they train for a show? They have to show up on time. They're training for. It's not about the ability to do it. It's creating an environment that artists can thrive. So they'll bring the structure and the dedication and the professionalism. But what I think is figuring out the stuff that stifles their creativity, and removing that and allowing that to be able to be.
And isn't there a bit of a fine line too? Because obviously, you're renting a chair to some degree, right? They're independent contractors, so
It's either that or commission. Yeah.
or commission.
Mm-hmm.
In either way, though, they're still based on the revenue that they generate.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that little play that you have to have in there. I mean, the whole team cohesion of a company,
Yeah.
and then the fact that they're individual players to some degree.
Yes.
Right. So how does that work with the balancing of that?
No, that's interesting take. There is a balancing act, because I think the establishment of you know you're on time, you're prepared. We do a couple of things with our staff, and I mean, we strive to be perfect at it, and it's something that we harp on quite a bit. But we try to be really diligent note takers, and so if you come in and you get a service done, we want some good notes on that. What if that person ends up in a different person's chair? What if they walk in? How embarrassing to walk up to the front and be like, "Hey, are you with me? I'm Geoffrey. I think I'm supposed to cut your hair today." And it's like, "Yeah, I'm that guy whose hair you cut like 6 weeks ago." And you're, "Oh no, I remember you. And you're trying to look for some clue where you can get like a glimpse where you can jog your memory. But if you have some notes, if you say this person's married with a couple kids, and you maybe have a child in the same class together, the second you read that, you're going to remember your whole conversation with them. And so I think creating little procedural things that the whole staff is doing, it creates some consistency and cohesion. But then, I was talking about, you want your hairdresser to be enthusiastic or funny or energetic, and I referenced my dad earlier. My dad has been doing hair for over 40 years. He's as talented as any hairstylist anywhere, and he is very calm. He's very soft-spoken. He has 6 sons, so he's very patient. But he has this disposition about himself. Well, the people that sit in his chair, they like that. That's what they expect, and that probably is why they keep coming back, because maybe their hyped up hairdresser in the 80s was just too much, and they found Robert, and he's so calm, and it's like, oh, that's that relaxing time. I get to go get my hair done. So it takes all different personalities. So you're not bound. Yes, you're bound by some of the procedural things, but no one's telling you how to behave or the line of conversations you're supposed to have. You get a lot of leeway in making the connections how you want to make them, and when people keep coming back to your chair, then you know that you're being authentic to who you are.
For sure.
I wonder around the question that you asked around the different ways of compensating stylists. So there's if you could explain for folks, there's booth rental, there's commission, there's salary. What are the different ways, and what do you see trends happening in that, and why people choose one versus another?
Yeah, Clayton Christensen wrote the book Disruptive Innovation. I'm sure everybody listening to this has either heard of that or read it, as well as you guys. But the disruptive movement in our industry is the emergence of salon studios. So you rent a individual room, similar to the office environment that we're in here, which is very, very state of the art. It looks really cool and modern. Stylists don't have to worry about the overhead; they can just go right into that. But that may be good, I think, for individual people, and it may really work for certain people's situations. In the long run, I don't know how good it's going to be, because it creates a much more individual mindset, and there's a lot of strength in numbers, and so that's one thing that's really changed a lot. That's a big change. But when it comes to compensation in a traditional salon where you have multiple chairs in there, booth rent would create our independent contractor, independent stylist would create a rate, typically a weekly or monthly rate for how much the chair is, and then they're responsible for scheduling and providing their own products. But in a commission structure, it goes back to what we're trying to build at FrostSalon, is more cohesion with the team, sharing supplies, doing large orders, and there is power that comes with that. You can, leverage some better rates. You can do different things when you're ordering large amounts. You can share education, and I mean that's really the gateway to staying fresh. There is a burnout rate for people in our industry, and I don't think people burn out of doing hair. I think they just work too much, and it's just too monotonous. And so I don't think you hit a magical point where I've done so many haircuts my head's going to explode. It's the same thing over and over again. So when you are buying as a team, you can get in education from color manufacturers that make scissors, things like that. I mean, they're looking to push their product, and they do it through education. And that's how my wife and I met, working for a product company doing education. And when you're an independent stylist, you really have to be on top of that. You have to really fight the it seems like a lot of people that go independent, they kind of flatline. They don't continue to grow, which is fine. That may be enough compensation that they need, but really, the real growth happens, I think, with a team.
I notice some salon owners choose to reduce the hours for, again, think of that artist mentality. They might work 4 days instead of 5 days, or have schedules so they have more flexibility in their schedules. They're not working to limit the burnout for folks. The other part of what we've seen in the salon loss is folks go into it for a while, and then they tend to go out because, who backs you up when you want to go on vacation? Exactly. If something happens, there is no support system in it. So it's good from an overhead. You have independent control of things, but your challenge could be if there's any disruption, anything happens, there's no support behind you to take care of your clients. And the second a client tries someone else, you risk they might choose to switch.
Right, opportunity. Right, it's an opportunity for loss or gain. It just depends. The person that just walks in.
So if someone were to bet on going into this industry and start, there's a lot of folks that come to us and they're investors or are looking to start in the industry. Any advice you'd give to someone that's thinking of whether starting fresh or acquiring into a salon that they should consider?
There's a few things. I mean, getting to know the individual stylists that are in the salon. Like I said, they can be kind of eccentric, so that's a big factor. But I think too, having a knowledge of the actual technicians in the hair industry. There's a shortage of hairstylists, so there are not enough hairstylists to meet the demand that is out there, and to be honest, that's evident by the fact that some salons charge quite a bit of money, and the results are okay. They may be good, but not great, and it's a supply and demand thing. It's not that people are daring you to say, well, go somewhere else and get something better, but unfortunately, there are a lot of salons out there, but a lot of salons are not fully staffed. And if you go to hair schools, a lot of people that go to hair school, they don't always end up staying in the industry for a long time. There's a big misconception in our industry. Sometimes you may have a kid that says to their parents, I think I want to do hair. I'm not sure what I want to do. And, I've heard things like, oh, but you're really smart. You could go to college, It's like this misconception that you don't have to be an intelligent person to do it. I think trades are an amazing alternative to colleges. You look at college debt that people incur with, getting degrees that don't necessarily translate to well-paying jobs. But, I mean, just set that record straight. Hairdressers can make great money. They have an incredible amount of control over their career. Like you said, the flexible hours. My wife, like we said, we have 4 children. She's able to juggle a busy part-time career as a salon owner and as a stylist behind the chair, but then also has that flexibility to kind of schedule her appointments and come and go. Most career paths don't allow for that flexibility with that same rate of return. So it's one of those things. You can make great money in a trade. You can make great money in being a hairdresser. You can have a great sense of accomplishment and a creative outlet. But there's a lot of misconceptions about that. I think a lot of people talk a big game when they say, oh, why not explore something outside of the college realm? But maybe hairdressers perceived a rung too low for their own child or something. Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. Good. Well, thank you for very much for sharing some of your experience locally. Geoffrey, why don't you tell us a little bit what you might have, going on, and how can people reach you and find out more about you and FrostSalon?
Yeah, so FrostSalon, like you said in the beginning, we are in the Ingalls Shopping Center right at East Jones Bridge and Peachtree Parkway. And the salon is number 770-680-4549. Our email is frostsalon@gmail. Pretty straightforward. But most people find us, we look at our analytics, most people hop on Google, search us, and press the call button.
Yeah.
So you could ignore the phone number and the email. As well as our Instagram is FrostSalon, as well as Facebook. I think there's some underscores or dots somewhere in there, but
Your Instagram is actually frost.salon.
.salon.
Salon.
There's a couple. It's funny. There's a couple other Frost salons in America, but I venture to guess they thought it sounded cool.
Yeah.
I think I even if I wasn't first, it's actually my name. So I would like to think that I get dibs on it. But
Absolutely. Well, we want to thank Geoffrey Frost for joining us here. He's a local citizen and lives here in Peachtree Corners and operates a small business. And we really appreciate you coming in and chatting us a little bit about the beauty. We learned some interesting stuff about, if you think about it, it's really a people business at the end of the day.
For sure.
And being able to attract and build that culture that stylists would appreciate is really what probably drives the business in the long term. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Geoffrey.
We also like to thank Atlanta Tech Park for hosting the Capitalist podcast. Great space for folks, entrepreneurs to come and build their business and network with folks and use some of the facilities here. So we appreciate them for being our host. Rico, what else we got going on over the next couple months?
Peachtree Corners magazine is out already. It's hit the mailboxes by now.
Mm-hmm. Great job.
Yes, thank you. And it's been fun putting it out, this issue, but it's already gone from some places. I was at Revelated this morning. They had one copy left, and I was at a few other places, and it's already gone, which is a good thing, but now I have to restock those places.
Yeah.
But the next issue we're working on is 18 under 18. Mm-hmm. So 18 kids under 18 years of age that have done great stuff in their lives so far.
Oh.
I want to share that story in the next issue. So that's the December-January issue.
Excellent. What are some of the topics in this issue that
issue?
feature?
Well, the cover story is Pets and Their People. That was part of a giveaway that we did.
Yep.
It had a lot of participation.
Great picture.
Gave away Lazy Dog restaurant gift cards and stuff. We also did Voices of Football. So we covered the announcers at Norcross and Wesleyan football. We also did Great Spaces. So if you're looking for a holiday or corporate space for your party, there's 14 of them that's profiled in the magazine.
Absolutely.
And online at livinginpeachtreecorners.com, there's going to be a full version for each one of those places.
And I would also say check out the article about the Technology Park. And there's a shuttle, if you drive down Technology Parkway, called Ollie, that you could take a ride on. And it is driverless shuttle that is now operating daily
from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Fridays. There's 6 or 7 stops, and they're using, I think, 6 of the Gwinnett Transit stops as the stops. So you'll see a little Ollie sign and a little QR code. Take your phone, scan the QR code. You're going to end up signing a waiver on your phone before you get onto the shuttle. But once you've done that, then you can go on that shuttle anytime after that.
Fabulous. So interesting things that are going on in Peachtree Corners, and just keep up with the Peachtree Corners magazine, and just you could also go find us somewhere on the web. I
if you go to livinginpeachtreecorners.com, you'll find the magazine, you'll find the podcast for Capitalist Sage, and also for Peachtree Corners Life. And one other that sort of is going to be run back up again is called the Ed Hour.
And Brian.
Right. So, and then we do have another major article, and that was technology in schools. This issue is really packed with stuff.
Yeah.
What about you? What's going on with Karl?
Well, Transworld. We own and operate another local business here, Transworld Business Advisors. We help people with their exit strategy from business, whether they're looking to sell, get a value on their business, whether they're looking to buy, expand through growth, through franchising. And it's been a busy time. We're adding members on the team, and it's an exciting time. Lots of opportunities out there, especially as folks are starting to transition out of corporate. The one thing that we've been running a theme around is legacy. When people always say, I always wanted to do something. I always wanted to start a business. So we love to have those conversations with folks and help find them the right place. So you can reach me at kbarham@tworld.com or online at www.tworld.com at Atlanta Peachtree. And reach out and we'll help you figure out what's next. So with that, we want to thank everybody for joining us on the Capital Sage podcast. In the upcoming months, we have some more fabulous guests. We're going to talk with folks about the entertainment industry. We're going to talk to folks about micro businesses, small businesses, startups, people that are ways for people to create their own small businesses in communities around Metro Atlanta. And a lot more fun conversations. Some more tech guys are on the slate. So really having fun doing this. And we look forward. You could find us on iTunes, on the web, on YouTube.
iHeartRadio,
Spotify,
Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube. Yeah,
so if you want to follow us on any one of those, feel free to leave a review, give us some comments, and follow us. And you'll get a notification every time we post a new episode. So thank you, everybody. Have a good week.
Thank you.
This has been The Capitalist Sage with Karl Barham and Rico Figliolini, the twice-a-month podcast with entrepreneurs and business experts. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Want more? Visit our website at capitalistsagepodcast.com.